everybody. Welcome to Rachel's Reviews. And today we are back ranking Disney. And this is the year that Disney wishes they could forget. Their 100th year anniversary did not go the way that they wanted, at least as far as the box office goes.
Boy,
But
and how.
and we have ranked every year. We went all the way back to we did a couple in the 90s, but we went all the way back to like 2008. And so we have a lot of years of reviews. And so this year we are ranking the Disney Studios properties that came out in 2023. We're going to try to make some sense of it all. And yeah, so I'm Film Critic Writer Stanford's here.
Hey, how's it going?
I'm doing good. The end of the year is almost here. Very exciting.
Wow, I
We did it.
know. What a year.
Yeah.
This would be like a therapy session,
I
Rachel.
know, it really is. Yeah, it's interesting because I was surprised when I started doing this ranking, like how many there were that I actually did feel pretty positive about. But I think it's a lot of the smaller releases. It's your DComs, it's your Fox releases, it's your things like that. And maybe that's an advantage of a year like this, is it kind of allows things like that to sort of rise to the surface, where it might get normally your Marvel and your Disney Animation, Pixar, things like that are more the top tier. So it's an interesting year. Why do you think, who do you assign the most blame for this?
Bob Chapek.
Bob Chapek. Okay.
No, honestly, I think he's part of it, or just the whole management disarray.
Yeah.
At Disney.
Mm-hmm.
And I think plenty of these movies were greenlit during the Bob Iger, the first Bob Iger years, too. But
yeah, I feel.
What do you please, you first?
Well, no, I just feel like when they added Disney Plus, I feel like something switched within the company, and everything became about making content rather than films.
Yeah.
And they were already doing that to an extent with the remakes and with the other things, but it just became exacerbated. And even brands that had been pretty reliable with your particularly Marvel, that all of a sudden they were about making more and more and more and more and more. And the less time that you give people and the more pressure and the less budget, it's just not going to be as good. And we saw it.
Yeah, I think you nailed it. I really think Disney Plus is to blame.
Yeah.
And then, of course, all the management decisions surrounding it.
Mm-hmm.
I also think, Rachel, in its own way, and I admire Disney in so many ways of trying to be inclusive in their I guess programming, or it's just the content, the content that they're creating.
Yeah.
But I also feel like sometimes, and with some of these films too, they were being inclusive just to be inclusive, but not to make a good film or a good story.
Yeah.
And
I feel like the old. We need the brain trust to come back, and I think it's great to allow all different kinds of viewpoints and auteurs and things like that, but I don't think it does them any service if the end product isn't is sloppy, is messy, is not given. Like, if you're afraid to give critiques because you don't want to appear as culturally insensitive, then it's not. Then the product is probably not going to be very good. It's going to be mixed. And we just faced this with Hallmarkies podcast. They had the first lesbian romance on Hallmark Channel. And it had good things about it. It wasn't like terrible, but it wasn't as strong as I wanted it to be. And so it's even as a critic, it's an awkward position, I don't want to be seen as, I'm not somebody that's against anybody being able to make their movies. I think that's great, but it doesn't do them any favors for me to not say what I actually think about, what they made, and be honest about the strengths and weaknesses. And sometimes I think that can be that same experience that happened to me in a small, situation can be magnified a million times. And then the movie ends up not being good because people are afraid or nervous or make excuses, all that kind of thing. I think it can happen.
Yeah. Exactly. And just as you brought up, and I I'm not trying to put more credit on to Bob Iger than is, necessary, but he at least admitted, and how could he not? I mean, given the box office performance, that they were focused way more on quantity than they were on quality.
Yeah.
And so I'm hoping that 2024 is going to be a big reset, particularly for the Disney brand.
It seems like it, because they're just not even releasing very much.
Yeah, there's hardly very little.
Much. No animated film, which I'm excited because they're excited from Inside Out too, but no Disney Studios animated film, and I'm excited because I think it could give other studios a chance to really rise to the occasion. This could be like a 2011, or where Rango won best animated film, just sort of one, like a different studio, a different and this is good. It's good to do. And so
I hope Disney's going to really look at their their slate and say, what's going to bring us back to quality.
I would tell them, I'm not even kidding, I would tell them, talk to the people that were acquiring DCOMs this year. They crushed it. Because none of them were made by Disney. They were all acquisitions.
They're all acquisitions.
And when I was thinking about it, because there was that one Spin, you remember? I think it was 22. That was good, high quality.
Spin was quality. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And so they've been buying good movies for Disney Channel.
Yeah.
Talk to that person. They know what they're doing. They know
exactly. Promote that person.
Yeah, for real.
Yeah.
Anyway, well, let's dive in. We have a lot of movies.
34 movies.
Yeah, and I think we'll have a lot the same, but then I think we're going to have some, major differences.
I think we're going to have some really big differences, which is going to be fun. I didn't see 3 of these films. You gave me a buy, for which I was grateful.
Yes.
I sometimes just don't want to see some of this R-rated content.
Sure.
And so I did not see The Boogeyman.
Which is PG-13.
But that's true. The Boogeyman is just, but it's horror. So being wussy me. All the Strangers and Poor Things.
Yes, and especially Poor Things. All the Strangers, it does have a bit of sensuality. But Poor Things is extremely strong. It is not for the faint of heart.
I still watch some of this, like what would be I considered very R-rated content on Hulu, but we'll talk about it.
Well, what do you have at your bottom?
So my bottom, 34, 33, and 30. So 34 is The Boogeyman, just because again I didn't see it. I put it at the bottom of it. Not because that's where I necessarily rated it. I just,
Right. So what do you have? Well, it's okay. I know I have 3 more than you, but so that'll be fine. But so what do you have bottom of the ones you've seen?
So 31 is my bottom one, and I have Vacation Friends too. That one of those R-rated ones on Hulu. I guess TVMA. But what a dumb. I mean, just
not that movie nobody asked for.
Brilliant. Well, right.
What?
And horrible. I mean, just horrible. So stupid.
So annoying. Such annoying characters.
Yes. Nothing likable at all.
Mm-mm. Yeah. And just not funny. Like, we've talked about it before. Like, I will own up to if something makes me laugh, even if it's puerile and stupid. Like, I love Talladega Nights.
Yes.
That is a stupid, terrible movie. But
I think that's so funny.
And I went and saw that movie with a couple of my friends. And they were like, oh, that was so gross. And I'm sitting here like,
laughing. See, I don't think I laughed even once in vacation.
No,
Not
no.
once. I was just more just like, when is this going to be over? You know, one of those
Yeah,
for
Steve
me.
Buscemi got a couple chuckles from me, but that was about it. It was bad. It was
Yeah.
bad. It was like it really was the epitome of these kinds of movies that Adam Sandler would make for years and years, where it was just an excuse for him and his friends to go on
To go on a
vacation.
vacation. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, literally vacation friends. It just was
Yeah.
so.
They got to go to
Uh,
Hawaii for a month or whatever, wherever they filmed it.
so what do you have next?
So at 30, I have Peter Pan and Wendy.
Oh, okay.
I hated this adaptation
Uh-huh.
so much. I mean, and our wonderful listeners know how much I hate these, live action remakes in most
Mm-hmm.
all of their formats. Although we'll be talking about another one that will come up a little better, which is definitely higher. But I
Mm-hmm.
hated this. I thought
Mm-hmm.
I guess part of it too, because I was so disappointed. You know,
Yeah.
I knew it was. I mean, I was skeptical about it, but yeah, I was just thinking, um, David Lowery's such a good director,
Yeah.
and it looks like it could be interesting, but when ultimately, I mean, I just thought it was a bore, and then when we find out that Captain Hook, I mean, spoiler alert, that Captain Hook and Peter Pan were friends, childhood friends before Captain Hook decided to grow up.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I just thought it was just
Yeah.
horrible,
It
horrible,
was
horrible. I hated it.
I do have it higher. It was disappointing for me. I was because I love Pete's Dragon so much. I've loved most of David Lowery's work. I love Ghost Story. I admired Green Knight in many ways. So I was expecting it to be better. For me, it was just fine. Like it was an okay Peter. Like this is what I would call like a serviceable Peter Pan retelling. Like
Yeah,
I would never go to this one though. I would always go to the 2003 one. But I guess maybe part of it is that it's not a story that I have a particular like affection for or fondness
yeah,
for, and so I'm just like, it was Peter Pan. It was disappointing because I really wanted it to be better because I had loved and my expectation. The only way that I could tell it was a David Lowery film was the fact that it was so green. The
yeah,
cinematography looked like him, but other than that, it didn't have
yeah.
his feel to it, and that was disappointing.
And I think another thing that was really disappointing for me, Rachel, was that Neverland looked like the most dreary place ever. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
Rather than just like this wonderful place that you imagine about, as a child, they were just like on the English moors or something, and it just looked like Wuthering Heights.
Yeah, I mean,
Anyway,
and that was true with Pete's Dragon. Pete's Dragon was pretty gray and pretty, like somber, and a lot of people kind of struggled with that because the original is so kind of goofy and silly, but
but I thought
but
it worked in
it
Pete's
worked,
Dragon.
and yeah, I did give it a mild recommendation when it came out, just that it was like it's fine, it's a Peter Pan movie, but it's if there were any from this year that I've kind of thought maybe I should, because I was right on the edge and you're going back and forth, but it was without a doubt disappointing. There's no question, and I do
Yeah.
understand why they didn't release it in theaters. At first, I was like, "Why?" But
Yeah,
it
yeah, I do
makes sense.
too. It's just like
Yeah.
put it on Disney Plus. Ugh, ugh, horrible.
Yeah. Well, my next up is The Haunted Mansion. I
Yeah,
thought this movie was so
it's
boring. I
it's
was
bad.
so like, at least to me, at least Peter Pan and Wendy had like Jude Law that was kind of fun, and it had like moments. It was average to me, whereas this was just like so tedious, and like I'm baffled. Why on earth do you hire Mary Lou Henner and Winona Ryder to literally tour New Orleans? Like it made no sense. Like why did they do that? And I love them so much. And the
Yeah,
story was so serious, and it was just it was one of the most downbeat, dreary family films I've seen in a long time.
yeah,
And
yeah.
I hated it so much. It was
Yeah. Oh, I
painful.
hear you. I have it a tick higher because I thought I enjoyed the production design,
Mm.
but that was it, Rachel. I mean, everything else, I'm with you. It's a horrible,
And
horrible film.
I hate to say it, but Tiffany Haddish is just pushing my last nerve. I mean, she is just, man. I mean,
Yeah,
I never saw Girls Trip, but part of me just wants to watch it just to remember that, like, what people that she was
yeah.
so
That what
people
liked
were
it,
so
what they liked
excited
about
about
her,
her.
because
Ugh,
yeah, this
she was
she's sure not good in this film.
no, and you have so
Yeah,
many funny people, and it was not funny like
yeah.
at all. Ugh.
And
Um,
Dower, as you said, just really, it's really it's a depressing film. I mean, really, it's even though, of course, the Haunted Mansion is a kind of a morbid experience, right? I mean, that's just part of, I guess, kind of the fun of it.
yeah,
But
there were a couple winks to the ride that were kind of fun,
right, yeah, 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 that's
but
exactly it.
oof, it
But
was a
oof,
slog.
yep, agreed.
I don't know what they were thinking with that one.
Yeah.
But all right. What do you have next?
So at 29, I have White Man Can't Jump.
Yeah.
I okay, so I didn't necessarily love the original film from 1992 with Woody Harrelson and with Wesley Snipes, but I saw it and it was
Mhm.
kind of I mean it was a popular film. You know,
Yeah.
I remember kind of in a way being puzzled because like I don't think this film was that great, but it was still interesting, you know, directed by Ron Shelton, who is the guy who directed Bull Durham and Tin Cup. So he, you know, I think he's like a good writer director for like 90s sports movies, you know, or late 80s. Um, but I'm thinking why number one, so why remake this? And I thought they picked the most unappealing actors they could have. You know,
Mhm.
it's like who are these guys? You know, they can't act, there's no charisma.
Yeah,
Um,
and the white guy, I think it was his first role acting job he'd ever done.
yeah, and it was obvious because he was I mean, bless him, he was horrible, you know, and oh,
Yeah, I'd
that
never
was
seen the
torture.
original, so I don't even have anything to compare it to.
Yeah.
I did have it like a little bit higher. I have it at 27.
Okay. Yeah.
But not like super high. It was just like bland to me. It was, you know, it felt like a TV movie. But just I don't know. It was just like nothing. It was completely unmemorable to me.
Yeah.
Hmm.
I just think, why remake it if you're not going to like try to do something?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't even know they need to do something different, but it just seemed like an absolute waste of everything, of
Yeah.
everybody's of time and money.
Yeah. You're just going off of the name and not doing anything
Yeah.
interesting
And
like
it's
with
just,
it
yeah,
in and there's so many things in 2023 that you could talk about with this story that could be interesting, you know.
exactly. And it would just, it couldn't have been more uninteresting to me, you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah, I agree.
Are you a fan of Rachel's Reviews? Do you look forward to Family Movie Night, Female Film Critics panels, or the Talking Disney podcast? If so, please consider supporting the podcast by becoming a Patreon. As a patron, you get to access monthly events such as the watch-alongs and Q&As, where you get to talk to stars and find out the behind the scenes of the movie making industry. And you can pick what I review for Family Movie Night or even become a guest on the podcast. Podcasts and YouTube channels are expensive, and I really, really could use your help. I would so appreciate it. You also get to be a member of the Facebook group where we talk about all the films that we're seeing, and we have so much fun. Go to patreon.com/hallmarkies and select one of the Rachel's fan tiers. That's patreon.com/hallmarkies.
I know we are my next one is we have a very different opinion on, but this movie that really made me mad. I have the Marvels at next up because
Yeah.
and I understand that it has fun moments. I understand that there's parts of it that look nice. But to me, this movie made me mad because it felt like there was something almost smug about it to me that made me really upset that they thought that they could this it felt like every scene was from a different script and nothing hardly anything meshed together. Like one scene, we'd have Captain Marvel, and she's responsible for genocide, and we would have these really intense, things with this villain, and then we're back to cats, and then we're in a singing planet, and then we're with Nick Fury, and then we're back to the genocide again, and then it was just like, what is happening? Like, this is not a script. Like, this is not a story. And I love the Marvel Cinematic Universe. I've always been a defender of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and I was so glad that this didn't succeed, because to me, it was Disney's way of saying, we think we can put out anything without any, like, without caring about any kind of continuity or cohesion or script. Like, it was just like, we don't even care, like, and we think it's going to make a ton of money. And I was just so glad that people were like, no, we do care, and this is not good enough. And so even though some of the ones ahead of this, I admit, have more flaws, it just really made me mad as a movie, and so that's where I have it.
Yeah, well, I don't strongly disagree with you on it, Rachel, because I found it to be breezy fun. I have a much higher. However, look at the box office numbers, right?
Yeah.
And the fans spoke, and I think they spoke loudly. And
yeah, I mean, it was so obvious that Nia DaCosta had this darker story of this genocide and everything, and then it must not have tested well. And then we know that they went in, then did all these reshoots, and so then they didn't even care. They're just like, we're just gonna put that in here, we're gonna put that in here, we're gonna put that in here, and it was just frustrating. And it was the first Marvel movie where I really felt like, okay, I have to have done homework for this movie. I haven't seen Miss Marvel. I haven't seen I hadn't seen WandaVision in a long time, and I hadn't seen any
Hawkeye,
of the other shows.
Really,
yeah.
You need for the very
Hawkeye and Secret Invasion and things like that, and that people would make that claim in the past about the MCU, but it never really bothered me until this movie. Even some people said that for Multiverse of Madness, and I kind of gave that one a pass because I felt like we all kind of watched WandaVision because of the pandemic.
Yeah.
Whereas like these other ones,
well,
like,
and WandaVision overall was pretty, I thought it was a pretty quality show.
It was so good. Yeah.
For the most part. Yeah.
And so that kind of annoyed me as well, that it was like, what? And I had no idea what was happening with Captain Marvel. Like, what was going on? Why was she responsible? Why was she running into the sun? What was happening? What power? What? And why didn't she, like, if she's so powerful that she can make the sun go away and she can practically defeat Thanos on her own, like, this villain should be no problem for her. Like, what is going on?
Yeah.
And the villain was terrible.
I thought for sure. And you bring up such a good point, because I think we might have talked about this, Rachel, a few weeks ago, but the screening, when I saw it, I just saw it like on the Saturday of opening weekend. There was this guy and his son sitting next to me, and he was pretty chatty, and he he was just saying that very same thing. He's like, I haven't watched any of those Disney Plus shows, and I don't really want to. And he's saying he really misses the days where really all he had to do was kind of see the previous Marvel movie, a few months earlier, and you could follow along. And those days, currently are gone.
Part of the fun of the MCU for a long time was kind of following the clues and it being almost a bit of a mystery of like, oh, he's going there, or he's doing that, and you just can't do that. They've lost it. There's just too many characters and too much material. I can't. I was lucky. We'll talk about one series here, but I just have so little TV watching time, and it's not going to go to Marvel. I still haven't watched Loki season 2, and I've heard that's so good, and I loved the first season. So anyway,
Disney, and again, another thing to blame on Disney Plus, but there's also, there's the pandemic and all this other stuff, that was going on. Hard decisions, but still, the quality has definitely suffered.
Yeah, it just really, really made me mad. So what do you have next?
Okay, so we're at 28, right? So this is where I have the lowest decon for me. It's The Slumber Party.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't care for this movie.
Mm.
I mean, it wasn't terrible, and definitely better than so many of the other decoms, that I've had to watch in the past, as you've heard me whine about. I thought this in a lot of ways. I mean, it was just kind of like a tween version of The Hangover.
Yeah.
And for me, it just wasn't fun. So I didn't care for it. I didn't think it was necessarily low quality. I just didn't like the story.
Fair enough. Yeah, I enjoyed it. I thought it was cute, but I can see that. It is, I think, my least favorite of. Well, I don't know if you count Crater, but
yeah, exactly.
That wasn't on Disney Channel. So, but it is the least of those ones that were on Disney Channel. My next one is it wasn't good for Marvel, for me at least, because it's Ant-Man Quantumania.
Yeah.
What a snooze. Oh my gosh. It was so boring.
That wasn't good.
I mean, it was just joyless and not fun. I mean, there were a few little parts where, just because Paul Rudd is so darn charming, he made it work, but most of it was just like, when is this going to end? I'm so bored.
Well, it was so frustrating to me. And I have a little higher just because there's other movies that I like less, but all the fun got pulled out of the Ant-Man, because what was so great about the Ant-Man movies is that they were really kind of at their core like action comedies.
Yeah.
And there was no comedy, or very little, in this
almost
one.
None.
And it had such tonally, it was so different. And
they give like almost nothing for the Wasp to do. And what's his name?
Kang.
No,
Kang
not
the
Kang.
Conqueror.
No, the other guy, the Corey's still the weird.
Oh yeah.
What, I can't think of his name all of a sudden, but he looked absolutely atrocious.
Zodok or no.
Yeah, MODOK looked absolutely atrocious.
Yeah, the CGI was really bad.
It is unbelievable if you go see Godzilla -1. I don't know if you've seen it yet.
No,
it was outstanding.
I'm hoping to go this weekend.
I loved it, and to think that movie was made for $15 million. It's just what? I mean, and I know that they have like different. It's a little bit different in Japan. The what they pay people, and just the whole system there is different. But still, even accounting for all of that, I mean, that's just crazy. And I don't know. It just looked terrible. It was terrible. So that's my next. What do you have next?
Crater.
Mm-hmm. I have that at 29.
I thought Crater was such a snore.
Yeah, it really was.
I thought, I mean, there was some potential.
Yeah.
But it wasn't good.
And I was really pulling for it because it got removed from Disney Plus, which still wasn't fair, even if it was boring.
Yeah, it shouldn't. That was a bad
should be given more than 1 month. It's ridiculous. But nevertheless, it wasn't good. It was.
Oh, please, after you, sorry.
It was just really slow, and the crop of kids just weren't that entertaining.
Yeah, no real chemistry with the cast.
Yeah.
Also, I mean, I was hoping for like a really fun, adventure film.
Mm-hmm.
And that's not what it was. It was just it was a real downer and a real bore. And I appreciate in a way, as far as like this inclusivity and all this plus, I mean, there's a lot of dead parents going on in these movies, and I clearly I know from firsthand experience that stuff.
The
stuff that kids have to deal with,
Right.
but oh my goodness, just
Yeah,
like
it just
this whole, he has to go like bury the ashes and all this stuff. Just like, oh, how about like having an adventure and fighting off a
yeah,
monster or something? I mean, I don't know. It's
just something.
yeah,
Yeah.
something.
Well, my number 30, I have Crater at 29. At 30, I have Dashing Through the Snow, which I know you have a lot higher. It just wasn't for me. Maybe I'm too picky with my Christmas movies in a way, because I see so many.
Or you have good taste, Rachel.
I thought Ludacris was completely sleepwalking through it. It felt like he was reading cue cards the whole time to me, and I just didn't like the Lil Ray. How he is just not my favorite. I don't. I mean, I like Get Out, but oof, I don't know. He's just not my favorite as far as comics, and I just found it really grating, and I did not. It wasn't for me. I did like one of the other Christmas ones.
Yeah. No, I have this. I have this much higher. It's one of the like. I can't believe I liked it.
I know. I was shocked. I thought you were gonna hate it.
I'm with you. I'm not a big fan of Lil Ray. I do like Ludacris. I thought Ludacris was fun. I think what I mostly liked was just kind of for me, I liked the even comedic tone. At least I thought it was. Not, I mean, it's not perfect by any stretch of the imagination, but and I also really liked that child actress that played Ludacris's character's daughter.
She was cute.
She was cute, and I just always like it when kids are not necessarily sassy, but self-sufficient, and they're not the victim in the film.
Yeah.
They're not the ones who, it's not no child in peril. I just thought she had a great attitude, just kind of this great attitude.
She's a good little actress. She was in a series, I think it was on Netflix, called Ivy and Bean.
Oh, okay.
That's real cute.
Yeah.
That you might like.
Yeah.
What do you have next?
Okay, so at 26, I have Chevalier.
Same. I have it at 28. So
yeah,
we're basically the same.
We're basically the same. I was really excited to see this film, and then just I got super busy and I just didn't see it in the theater. So I ended up watching it on an airplane.
Oh.
And I didn't like it in the airplane. So I was like, well, I guess I'm glad I didn't see it in the theater. Again, I just was expecting it to be better, and it just turned out to be a real slog. What did you think?
I agree. I thought it was underwhelming.
Underwhelming is a good word.
I just felt like it wasn't campy enough with all the sex and it wasn't like campy enough to be Bridgerton or something like that, like kind of silly, but it wasn't like compelling enough to be like a good drama. I just said in my review, I said, unfortunately, the pedestrian script, the way people talked, was just ridiculous. Lets everything down in this by the numbers period piece. They didn't even bother to give the characters French accents, not soapy enough to be camp or well done enough to be serious drama, just bland.
I thought too, again, uneven in that, in the beginning you think it's going to be kind of a romp, and then it gets super serious.
Yeah.
And it's like, I don't know. And none of it really worked for me.
Yep, yeah. Agreed. 27 is where I have White Man Can't Jump.
Okay.
Just bland. And so what do you have next?
So 26 for me is Chevalier.
Right. But what do you have after that?
Oh, after they have Rye Lane.
Oh, yeah, that's pretty low.
I didn't like Rye Lane, Rachel.
Interesting.
Yeah. I mean, I wanted to. I thought their relationship was so unbelievably uninteresting. And again, enlighten me. Maybe I was just tired or something, but I was really it wasn't interesting for me.
I saw it at Sundance. So I saw it pretty early on. I mean, I don't think all of the humor works. That's the only thing holding me back from being like a favorite, because obviously I love rom-coms. But I do think that I liked their relationship. I thought it was sweet, and they're both coming off of bad breakups, and they're kind of helping each other heal. And I liked the whole thing of like, that you're a good person if you wave at ships, and
Yeah.
some of the I thought
Some
the
of that stuff
writing was
fun.
sweet, and
Yeah.
and
I love the location shooting. I mean, I just thought, that being there in London, I really
Mhm.
enjoyed that.
Yeah, and you can tell it's a Sundance movie. It's got like they use like the fisheye lens, and there's some creative filmmaking going on there.
Yeah.
But yeah, I liked it. So I understand. I can, but that's the thing with romances. A lot of it just depends on if you were vibing with the couple and all of
Right.
that. I get that.
Right.
Well, my next one is very sad. The next, like, I would say the next 7 to 10 are all movies that I'm like, that I didn't like hate, but were disappointing. So the next bunch. But the next one for me is actually Wish. I have next,
Yeah.
which is shocking to have so low, but it
I
just
have
was
Wish at 19.
okay.
But
Yeah. It just was so forgettable. I've seen it twice and I don't think I'll ever need to see it again. There was nothing memorable about it. The songs weren't great. The animation was fine, but nothing that was like that saved it. I I don't know. It was such a bland movie to me, and that was very disappointing.
Wish
So,
was such a disappointment. I was so bummed.
yeah.
I was cautiously optimistic. I think we had talked about
Yeah.
seeing it, but it's just not good. I
Mhm.
thought the animation actually was quite pretty, but the story and the songs were just so, and as you
Yeah.
said, completely forgettable.
Hmm.
And I think you nailed it, kind of like mid Disney, although it's like mid to low Disney.
Hmm.
It's just not, it was not a good film. And
Yeah.
also, what's interesting is that it totally bombed at the box office, and I think that's got to be part of it, is the quality
Hmm.
of the film. It just didn't resonate with the audiences either.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. What do you have next?
Then I've got a 24. Miguel Wants to Fight.
Hmm.
Uh,
It was
you know,
cute.
it's cute. What I think for me was kind of an issue, and I don't want to be like Mr. Piety or whatever, but I just like, hey, this is a film that's really kind of made for teenagers, and there
Yeah.
was so much swearing
Yeah.
and stuff. I just thought to me
That's
that kind of seemed
true.
baffled. So it's like rated TVMA. I watched it on Hulu, but
Hmm.
but I don't think I'd want my teenager to watch it.
No.
If I
And
had a kid, I just didn't feel like they. I thought that they were kind of skewed with the audience. The story was kind of interesting,
yeah.
but
And I saw this. I was good. So I was watching movies today, and I've seen this before. I don't know if it was at South by Southwest or it was
oh, you saw it
somewhere.
at a festival or
Yeah, I was
something.
watching. I'm
Oh,
like, oh, I've
cool.
seen this already before. Somewhere I saw it, and so I didn't actually have to watch it today. I was like, oh, okay.
You like
But
score?
yeah.
Done.
But yeah, I agree that there's a lot of they use the F word a lot, and it wasn't necessary.
Yeah, it wasn't necessary.
Um,
I mean, I'm not saying that kids don't talk that way, but I just thought it
mhm.
didn't do a thing for the movie.
Yeah, no, I
I
agree.
didn't think.
Yeah, but it was sweet enough. I have it just a tiny. I mean, I have it at 22, so not like super
It
high.
has a satisfying, I thought it had a satisfying
Yeah.
ending, and
Hmm.
yeah, but
My number 25, The Trail of Tears continues because that's where I have Elemental, and I know again you have that much higher, but for me, I just thought that this
yeah, it
was
didn't work for you, did
no,
it?
I thought this was extremely generic. I mean, maybe I would like this movie more if I hadn't seen Inside Out and Zootopia and I mean a million other movies where we're going inside of the world of whatever. This is the world of elements. We've gone in the world of emojis. We've gone in the world of luck. We've gone in the world of, and it's just like at a certain point that's just played out. And I didn't really understand, like the romance didn't do a whole lot for me because I'm just like, why does he even like her? And like, why did all of a sudden her father become the villain of the story? I didn't really understand that. She seemed perfectly happy at the beginning of the story to be taking over his business. And then all of a sudden at the end, it's like, oh, this is this big burden that you're putting on me. And I didn't understand why there was so much time spent on like getting permits, and like why was there even all these pipes in Fire World? I didn't quite get it. And I guess they were saying like it was their way of saying like how immigrant spaces can get appropriated or whatever. But I don't know. I just thought it was just, I was very frustrated because I feel like, and this was the title of my review, was that Pixar's making concepts, not stories. And the stories used to be so solid. And now the last, like a bunch of movies, with the exception of Luca, in my opinion, they have been about concepts. They've been about a girl turning into a panda. They've been about a man going to the afterlife. They've been about like a concept, not a story. And what's the story that you're telling? And I just, to me, this was like it reminded me of in the movie Elf, when they're having the brainstorming session, and the guy's like, well, why don't we make it about tomatoes? Tomatoes are celebrating Christmas. And then the guy's like, well, what about it's a family of asparagus? And the guys are like, what are you talking about?
What are you talking about?
Yeah, that's what it kind of made me feel like, that I don't know. I found it frustrating. I do think the animation is beautiful. And I understand why it works for so many people, but I can
understand why that's frustrating for you. I definitely liked it a lot more. And isn't it nice that we can all have our own opinions, right?
Yes.
But I respect what you're saying.
Yeah. All right. What do you have next?
23, I have Haunted Mansion. And really, the only reason that it's as high as it is because as I said, I really thought the production design was fun and paid really nice homage to the attractions,
the ride. Yeah.
But what a dreadful film. Oh, what a downer.
I hope they paid Mary Lou Henner a lot of money
for her cameo,
for giving a tour. What?
Yeah.
What?
Like what? And and just again, waste of so much talent.
I have a theory that the only reason they hired Mary Lou Henner is because they wanted her to play in a Celebrity Family Feud. They had Haunted Mansion cast, and she was on there. She's like an amazing memory. She's like super smart. Her brain's I don't know if you knew that, but like she has this special kind of brain that like can remember like the tiniest little details.
Oh, okay. So
she's one of only like 15 people in the world that have it.
You want her on your team.
Yeah, you want her on your team for Family Feud. Fun. My next one is another one I know we greatly disagree on. For me, I have Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny. This to me was just so bland and uninspired. I thought the beginning was the people were really critical about the face, the doubling, whatever. People were critical of that, but to me, I thought that was the best part of the movie. But I'm really tired of this thing of like the only stories that we can evidently think of for our heroes of the past is to turn them into these embittered old people. Like, does nobody choose to be a nice person? Like in our world, why does every hero have to turn into Logan? Like, I feel like that movie was a success, and it's like, okay, we've got to do it to Luke Skywalker, and we've got to do it to Indiana Jones, we got to do it to, and it's just, And I mean, Phoebe Waller-Bridge, I like her in Fleabag. I like her as an actress, but she did nothing for me. I couldn't believe how they wasted Antonio Banderas. Like, what? Are you kidding me? He's Zorro. You have Zorro in your movie, and you do literally nothing with him. And there was all this like car chases and speeding around, and I'm like, this is not a car chasing. Like, when did this become Fast and Furious? And I don't know. And the kid, like, why is the kid even there? Like, the only reason he existed was to have somebody that they could kidnap. So at the end, but there was no like bond. This is not Short Round. I don't know. I just thought it was underwhelming.
Yeah, I think I'm the only person in America that liked the movie.
Yeah,
So
which
yeah.
I'm happy. I'm glad that their $300 million paid off.
Well, it was a huge loss and just
Huge.
another huge
Paid
miss.
off for you. It paid off.
Yeah, exactly. The 3 times I went and saw it or whatever. 'Cause I really do love it. But anyway,
Yeah.
I totally understand what you're saying. And I know that I'm in the minority. I have
Yeah.
there's a couple family members that that I
Yeah.
saw
And our
last
friend
week.
Jen, she didn't like it.
Jen didn't like it,
No,
right?
she didn't like it.
Yeah,
No.
I was to say a couple of family members that I talked to at a birthday party, and they liked it. So they're okay, the three of us,
Yeah.
are the only three people in America that like this movie.
But you agree with me though. Can we stop with that? Like, let's think of something else we can do with our aging hero. Like, can we think of another idea?
It is frustrating. I think, because why does everybody have to be, embittered? I thought, though, in a lot of ways, one of the things I really did like about it, though, was that not so much with Luke Skywalker, but definitely with Indiana Jones, is that he's facing his mortality, and part of when you get, getting older, is you get ignored, and so. And I think for him, he clearly he was having these marital issues because with the death of his son, but
I think that he should have stayed. I think that the ending would have been just more poetic and better if he had stayed. If they allowed him to stay, it's Indiana Jones. Of course, he'd want to stay. He should stay. That's what I think.
Yeah, I was thinking he was going to stay, and that would be kind of cool. But I did like how it ended, because then he was able to make amends with Marion. But spoiler alert. But then not that anyone else is gonna ever see it. But
welcome to the Pilot Podcast. My name is BJ.
And my name is Me Too. And we promise this promo is worth it, so please don't skip ahead.
We're two judgy friends who put our judgmental skills to work for you. We review the pilot episodes of new and popular shows, and shows that our listeners request to answer your question, should I watch this?
Look, a lot of us are spending a lot more time at home, and yes, we should be reading and trying new projects and enriching ourselves, but does anything beat binging a great show?
Let us take the guesswork out of deciding what your next show will be. Tune in to The Pilot Podcast at thepilotpodcast.com.
What do you have next?
I have Quiz Lady at 22.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
I thought Quiz Lady was fine.
Yeah.
I didn't love it, didn't hate it. And I did laugh a few times. I thought that they had Awkwafina and Sandra Oh had some pretty good chemistry. I liked Will Ferrell a lot as the game show host.
And it might have benefited a little bit by very low expectations, because I didn't think it looked very good, and I really enjoyed it. I thought it was a good mother-daughter story, well written, good characters. I do have it, so I have it a bit higher, but yeah, I was pleasantly surprised.
Yeah, it definitely doesn't suck.
It's better than you think. If people listening, it's better than you think it is.
Yeah, absolutely. That's why I just kind of have it in the middle for me. But I thought it was it was really quite funny. Yeah.
Well, next is where I have Peter Pan and Wendy.
Okay.
So yeah, and we already talked about that. So what do you have next?
Next, I have The Mission, which is that documentary that was on the National Geographic channel, or whatever you call it, on Disney Plus. It was really interesting. It's this documentary. You saw it did you see it at Sundance Race? You saw it at the festival, didn't you?
No, I just watched it yesterday, actually, but I'd heard really good things about it. So I'd been wanting to watch it, and I have it higher. I really appreciated that. I felt like the filmmakers did a very good job, and it's hard to do in a documentary, of not passing judgment, that they were just telling the story, and it was
I thought they did an excellent job with that.
To the viewer to pass judgment, because there could be some people who watch this movie and really condemn him and think he's a terrible colonizer and whatever. And then other people could watch the exact same documentary and be like, wow, he's so inspiring. He's such a, and I think that says something to its accuracy as a documentary.
Yeah.
And I even saw some people saying like it didn't take enough of a stand, and I'm like, that's exactly why it
That's
was good.
why it was good.
Yeah.
Because it wasn't trying to necessarily persuade you either one way or the other, which I really respected.
Yeah.
Just FYI to your great listeners, is that it's the story of this American Christian missionary who was
Mhm.
murdered when he was trying to contact and convert some indigenous people, but he was breaking the law. You're
Mhm.
not supposed to do this, but
Because these are people that have it's one of those rare islands that still doesn't have contact with outside world, and so he had decided he was going to do this, and evidently they're making a feature about it, which
it would be interesting story, because I think it's an interesting story about faith,
Mhm.
about colonialism,
Mhm.
and all this stuff, and
Mhm.
it just raises a lot of questions.
Mhm.
I thought that was very well made.
I agree. Hey, and it was a lot better than the Disney nature documentaries, usually for National Geographic.
So grateful. There was no Disney nature. Those are so awful for me.
So next is where I have Miguel Wants a Fight.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I enjoyed it for the most part, but I had the same kind of reservations about the tone. It didn't quite nail the tone.
Yeah.
But what do you have next?
Next, I have World's Best.
Yeah, I loved this. I have it a bit higher. I really did. I thought it was such a lovely story between.
There was quite a bit I liked about
boy
it,
and his dad, and
and
him like grieving and moving and getting understanding. And I thought I hate it because I'm going to butcher his name. I'm sorry. And I've loved him in so many other things, but Utkarsh Ambudkar.
Yeah. He's
so
really good
in this.
Yeah.
I really liked it. I thought
the child actor was really cute.
Yes. And just their dynamic, and I cried. It made me cry.
Oh, okay, nice.
I thought it was so touching and really well written. I really did enjoy it. I thought it was such a surprise because I had no idea. I knew nothing about it.
Yeah, I didn't either.
Fun.
Yeah, that is fun, just to kind of go in and explore. I mean, I gave it 3 out of 5 stars. It's not like it's not a terrible.
Yeah,
I mean,
especially for DCOM for you, that's good.
Yeah, it is really good. The acting I thought was very good. Yeah. I think for me, part of it, Rachel, and this is just exposing me for him. I just don't like hip hop, and so having so much hip hop, I'm like, okay, please no more rapping. Even though you're like really cute, he's really really great little child actor. I thought who played the main character.
Yeah.
And I didn't really like the mother. I just thought kind of, even though I know they needed to have that dramatic conflict in it, whatever, I just didn't really like how, I mean, it all comes together at the end, thank goodness. But I thought what the mother was doing was kind of lousy, but I guess that's the point.
But really, this Utkarsh, I can't think of a time when he hasn't delivered.
He's always good, isn't he?
Even if I didn't like the movie, like I didn't love Brittany Runs a Marathon, but he's really good in it. He's in Tick Tick Boom, love that. He's in
Free
Pitch
Guy.
Perfect, Blind Spotting. He's in Free Guy. Like he is always good.
Yeah, he's really good. Yeah. No question.
Mm-hmm.
Great, really good actors, in this film. Yeah, and nicely done.
Yeah. So next, I actually have a movie I gave Fresh to. I mean, technically, I gave Fresh to Peter Pan and Wendy, but I gave Fresh to The Haunting of Venice because I think for what it's trying to do, I think it does a good job.
Yeah,
it's just not my thing.
Mm-hmm.
I have realized in the last few years that I just don't love mysteries that much.
Yeah.
Especially this Agatha Christie version of mysteries. And especially these Poirot ones, these ones with
Kenneth
the
Branagh Poirot,
where it always ends like like one of the satisfying. If I am going to like a mystery, I like being able to sort of put the clues together and kind of follow it. And then once you get a little bit of kind of exposition at the end, it's like, oh, okay, I basically got it. I got close to getting it.
Rather
Whereas
than the
in
30
all
minutes.
of these movies, it's just this dump of exposition. And
Yeah.
in this one especially, there was no way that he could have known some of those things that were happening behind those rooms. And in like that, it would just like he would have to be the most amazing guesser in the world. But I think that like all the horror stuff, I thought I was so surprised that you watched this movie. This movie's way scarier than The Boogeyman. And
Okay, so I should probably check out The Boogeyman because I wasn't scared at all, but I'll get to it in a
I
minute
was
when we talk about
surprised
it.
because some of that stuff with the masks and the like,
It was creepy. For
there's
sure, it was
some
creepy.
pretty
Yeah.
scary stuff. I thought I was like, and you know, people are killed and so I was surprised that you saw this. I really was. But
Yeah.
it's well made. It's well done. I just don't love mysteries. That's why it's so low.
Yeah.
But you know, for people who like that kind of stuff, they'll like it.
I have a little higher. You know, it's interesting, Rachel. I have I'm in a book club at work,
Mhm.
and we literally had just finished reading Agatha Christie's, and then there were none.
Mhm.
And so I had Agatha Christie like on the brain, you know. I mean, just and her
Yeah.
style and so.
I mean, it's just super popular. It's just, you know, everybody has those things that just
right.
aren't
No,
on
I
your
get it. No,
wavelength.
I'm just saying. I think a reason that I liked it, and also a reason maybe I wasn't scared. Like, and then there were none. There's just like death every chapter, you know, because
I just thought with some of the drugs and stuff, when things get kind of, and then there's some like genuine jump scares,
yeah,
and with the masks and I thought that would be too scary for you.
I know, shocking.
So there we go.
Yeah, I was gonna say that had read an Agatha Christie book, I kind of went in
Yeah.
to like, bring it on, you know.
Yeah.
But anyway, yeah.
So let's see, where do you have next?
So at 19, I have Wish, and then at 18, I have Quantumania. This is all kind of like my 3-star area.
Mm.
I gave Wish really, I think only deserves 2 stars.
I thought you were lower on Quantumania. I really did.
I can't believe it is where it is too. I think just because I liked it just a tick more. For me, it's the Michelle Pfeiffer Justice Scale, I call it, because I love Michelle Pfeiffer, even though she wasn't good in the film.
Barely in it.
I was gonna say she's barely in it, but she gets an extra star because I love Michelle Pfeiffer. And Wish, I really did like the animation, but it's not a good film. So anyway, but that's where I have those two. Yeah.
Interesting. Well, my next one is Next Skull Wins. Is where I have Next Skull Wins.
Okay, I have that at 17. Yeah.
Okay. I mean, I'd heard nothing but how this was terrible, and so I guess again, low expectations might have helped. I thought it was perfectly pleasant underdog sports movie. Some of the jokes were a little much, and but I don't know. I mean, I thought that I liked the trans character and the journey of the relationship between that character and Michael Fassbender's character, and that there was some, I thought that was pretty well done, and that they learn from each other, and it was just, to me, I love underdog sports movies, so this is like my thing, as opposed to the mysteries, which aren't my thing.
Yeah.
And I just thought it was like perfectly pleasant. I'm not going to remember it. It's not like great, but I thought it was fine.
Yeah,
sports movie.
Well said. I think for me, given that it was directed by Taika Waititi and written too, even though it's based on a true story, I think I went in with higher expectations.
Yeah.
Expecting it to be funnier, maybe a little edgier, and maybe provide a little bit more insight on some of this, some of these characters. And again, maybe they're just, again, it's based on a true story. And then, when they showed the pictures during the end credits of what these people actually look like, I thought Michael Fassbender really did look a lot like, I mean, physically he looked a lot like him, but I didn't really I didn't like the character. And maybe you're not supposed to, because he's kind of a despicable person.
Well, yeah, I mean, and he comes around.
I mean, that's part of the point, right?
And he's grieving his daughter. And
we find out he's grieving his daughter, but I wish
they
I'd liked it more.
they also, had to completely re-edit it, and take out Army Hammer. So there's that. That I think that counts for a certain degree of choppiness. They had to Kevin Spacey it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's just like this kind of movie that I will probably play on like TBS or something like that in 10 years, and people will be like, oh, that was fun.
Yeah.
But and then the next movie I have on my list is also, I would just say, is like a crowd pleaser, but it's fine. I have Flamin' Hot next.
Oh yeah.
It's cute. I liked it. I guess the story is like somewhat questionable, people were saying. But
as far as accuracy goes,
yeah.
Okay.
But I can't keep track of all, what's right and what's wrong. But as a movie, it was cute, entertaining.
Yeah.
So.
I thought it was cute too. I have a little higher, but yeah, I thought it was cute. I thought I was cute, very entertaining. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. What do you have next?
Okay, so as I
You're
mentioned,
at 18,
17 is, so 18 is Quantum Mania.
Oh, right, yeah.
17 is Next Goal Wins. It was your 17 was Flaming Hot, or was it 16?
No, Flamin' Hot was 19 actually, because I
okay.
I've got more.
Okay, that's right, because we're 3 off.
Next, I have The Slumber Party. That's where I have it. I thought it was cute. I liked just kind of a hangover for teens, and I liked these kids. I thought they were well cast, and the main problem I had with it was this onion eating scene, which I don't like onions. Follow me on social media. No, I don't like onions, and so this onion eating scene made me gag. It was gross, but
it was gross. And I like onions, and I thought it was gross. Yeah.
But I liked these kids, and I thought they had nice chemistry together, and so I liked it. Yeah. What do you have next?
Dashing Through the Snow.
Mm-hmm.
Again, go figure.
Yeah.
Because again, also I said I don't like hip hop, and this is like it's all it was, but but still, I thought it was cute and different enough, kind of a different enough take on the Santa Claus mythology that that I had fun with it. Again, who knows why, but I did.
Yes. Well, next up is where I have Carl's Date. This is short. I mean, it's cute. It was fun. I liked going back to seeing Carl.
But so I had that at number 10. I thought it was cute. There's not a lot to it. It was just more just like, it's almost just like an extended or even just an episode of that Doug's show that they put on Disney Plus.
Yeah, perfectly pleasant. I enjoyed it. I'm a huge Up fan. So yeah, nothing wrong with it at all. But I don't know, it's just where I felt like it belonged.
Yeah, fair.
We'd like to take a second and thank our sponsor for this episode of the podcast. It's the Hallmarkies merch store.
Are you looking for that perfect gift for the postable, Hardy, or Hallmarky in your life?
What about getting that t-shirt or hoodie that will help you stand out at your next holiday party?
Now is the time to check out the Hallmarkies merch store.
Full of festive designs by artists like Jessica Miller, Carrie from Hallmark Comics, and more.
You can even have more than just shirts, but totes, cell phone cases, notebooks, mugs, and more.
And it isn't just Hallmark. We have designs for Anna Green Gables, Man from Snowy River, The Nanny, and more.
Every purchase at the merch store goes to help support the podcast and allows us to make the great content you know and love.
There are frequent sales, so go to tpublic.com/stores/Hallmarkies or see the link in the description.
That's tpublic.com/stores/Hallmarkies.
What do you have next?
I have the Naughty Nine.
Mm-hmm.
At 15. It's super cute.
Yeah, I really liked it too.
Great cast. Winslow Fegley is back.
He's the best.
He's so great. What a great, and Danny Glover plays Santa. But this is a show, again, unlike Crater, not that Crater was trying to be a comedy, but this as an ensemble comedy, family comedy, I thought it really worked.
And all the production design I thought was so well done. I mean, this thing probably had nothing budget. And even with that, I thought just that they made this whole North Pole, and it all looked, it looked really good, I thought.
I thought so too.
Yeah. And I mean, if people are tuning in for Danny Glover, he's barely
he's hardly in it at all.
Hardly in it.
Yeah.
But these kids were really fun and sarcastic and enjoyable. And And if you like the Sandlot, if you like, those kinds of
yes,
movies, then I think people really enjoy this.
This was a really pleasant surprise.
Yeah. One of my favorites for the this holiday season this year.
Yeah,
I really fun. Really liked it.
Yeah.
Good choice. So I have at 16 Chang Can Dunk.
Yeah.
Really charming. I really enjoyed it.
Too. I have that at 11. I thought it was really good.
It was really good. I liked the performances. I liked the, it's an underdog story, which I like. And yeah, it was a really good DCOM. Yeah. So
for me, Rachel, one of the things I really liked about Chang Can Dunk is that, number one, I thought it was an inclusive story done right.
Yeah, I agree.
It's because it was a really good story. And also it just felt like you got a real sense of his family's culture.
Right.
But they weren't hitting you over the head with it.
Mm-hmm. And their unique culture, not just, it wasn't like, there was no tokenism in this movie. It was like literally their family and who they were.
Exactly. And I love that. Agreed. I just thought, my wish is that every, Disney movie could be like this, rather than so forced, or
there's a lot of these DCOM sports movies, and this is right up there with one of the best. It was terrific. Really good.
Again, as I said, I have it at 11. I thought it was I really liked this movie.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
What do you have next?
So this one, I have a small eye. This one was a bit of an unusual edition for us because it's a mini series. It's not just a movie, and I've only been able to watch one episode.
Yeah,
which I thought was absolutely terrific and riveting. I had recently I went to the Anne Frank house this year when I was in Amsterdam, and that's such a sobering, poignant place to visit.
Yeah, and to have it be about Meet Geis, I think was really
special. I thought it was really special and beautiful production values, filmed in Amsterdam, and in Europe, and excellent acting. I thought that Lee Schreiber, even though I just saw the one episode, as Mr. Frank was just fantastic.
Yeah.
So I'm excited to continue to watch this.
And I normally don't include anthologies, but I just felt like it was so strong and we didn't have that much really, really strong stuff. So let's include it. So and also I did cover it on the red carpet, which was very exciting.
So cool.
They had the premiere at South by Southwest. It was so funny because so I just put in basically every night that I put in request to cover red carpet every night, and I got denied. And so when I got accepted to cover the red carpet for Small Light, I was super stoked. I'm like, that's Disney Plus, National Geographic, that's really exciting. And so I show up, and I'm really proud of my video that I did. I learned a ton from making that video on it. But anyway, I show up, and everybody at the South by Southwest press group that was there was all really grumpy, and they were all like, we got assigned this, and I was like, really? I'm super stoked. It's Disney Plus, and they're like, oh, but it's Nat Geo. It's Nat Geo, and I was like, what?
What?
I thought that was so funny. I'm like, Nat Geo? When did that become code for lame? But yeah, really moving. I have it a lot higher, and maybe I was slightly influenced by covering the red carpet. I don't think so, but it's so really cool good.
That you got, and I just didn't feel like I could put it higher on even though I know that after I watch it all, I will definitely want to put it higher because it's riveting, even just
completely snubbed by the Emmys, which is really annoying. But my next one is where I have The Mission.
Okay.
So I really appreciate it, especially as a former missionary. A lot of the themes really rang true for me, and it gave me a lot to think about. So The next three for me are my three additions. So let me just go over them real quick.
Yes, please.
So at 14, I have All of Us Strangers. And this movie was a little bit disappointing for me because I love Andrew Haigh so much. I've loved all of his films. Lean on Pete is one of my favorite films of the last decade. I loved that movie, and 45 Years. I really loved that. The Weekend was a beautiful and gay love story. He's just even in this movie that I didn't quite bond with, he does bring such humanity to his films, and he's a director I will always be there in line day one to see anything he makes, because I just think even if it doesn't 100% work for me, I still will get something where I know somebody's trying, to make something special.
Yeah.
And that's why I have it so high, even though the concept. So it's about this man. He is dealing with a lot of loss in his life. His parents died when he was
screenwriter, isn't he? Isn't he?
Yeah. And his parents died when he was very young, and he starts having these kind of fantasies, and the fantasies actually play out. You see him, what's his name? Jamie Bell and Sarah Paulson playing his parents, and he has these conversations with them. And then he has this relationship with Paul Mescal, and you start to sort of realize things about Paul Mescal, and in some ways it is very beautiful and an exploration of grief, and the performances are excellent. It's not a terrible movie by any means. That's why I have it so high, but it just emotionally didn't quite connect with me. The whole conceit of him talking to his dead parents, just, I don't know, there was something that felt a little tiny bit phony to me. It just didn't quite do it for me. I'm in the vast minority. Most people are loving this movie. And I understand why, because it has really good performances and has a lot of good things about it. But my expectations were extremely high because of how much I love his other movies.
Yeah.
So that's where I have it. The next I have The Boogeyman. And The Boogeyman had really great art design, the way it used color and lighting, and I thought that it told this family story about grief, and this family's lost their mother, and there's this boogeyman that is kind of haunting them, and it has to do with the grief. And I love Chris Messina. He is one of my favorite actors. He almost always delivers. I love The Mindy Project. He's in this. He plays the dad. He's also this therapist. And there are some parts that are even though I haven't seen that many horror movies, there are definitely a lot of parts of this movie that were okay, we've seen that a million times. And most of my friends who are really into horror movies were oh, this is, very tired.
Yeah.
But since I haven't seen as many, it didn't feel quite as tired to me. The jump scares and the other things like that. But I just thought I thought the girls were really good. I thought the family themes were really good. And I thought the way that it used sort of light and color and created the scares, it kind of reminded me a little bit. It's not as strong as The Babadook, but it kind of reminded me a little bit of that, which was also a really good movie about grief and loss. And so yeah, I liked it. I did a full review for Family Movie Night for Disney Scares Month on The Boogeyman. I think that it was a good movie. So then next is where I have Poor Things. This Yorgos Lanthimos. Yorgos Lanthimos is not going to be for everybody. And
this movie's getting rave reviews though.
Yes. Because, and I did recommend the film. You just have to kind of know, if you're up for this, because it's about this. It's basically like a Frankenstein retelling. And this woman gets a baby's brain put into her
adult
head
body,
by the
right?
Willem Dafoe character. And so Emma Stone starts as a baby in a woman's body. And the thing you cannot deny about this movie is that she is completely fearless. She will do anything. She's crawling along on the floor. She's up for all the nudity. She's up for, and so over the course of the movie, you see her go through all the evolutions of becoming a woman. So there's obviously a lot of time spent on her sexual awakening. There's a whole section in Paris where she becomes a prostitute. And I'm not sure exactly why that was a necessary part of her evolution. as if that's something that like everybody experiences. I don't know. And a lot of time is spent on that. And I just felt like it was redundant because we had just seen her sexual awakening in the previous scenes on this boat. So why did we need particularly sex work? I'm not sure why. But anyway, it's very bold. It's very artistic. It's very creative. It's fresh, new, but it is too long. It wears out its welcome. But I did give it a mild recommendation if somebody's up for that, if they want like a really artistic experience, if they want, this kind of thing. And her performance is absolutely excellent. She should win. She's the best. It's the best acting I've seen all year. She's fearless in the role. So yeah, that's why. So that's those three.
Nice.
Yes. So what do you have next?
So at 13, I have Prom Pact.
Okay. Yes.
DCOM.
So good. I loved it so much.
Really, really a cute movie.
Yeah. Like such a good teen. To me, I mean, I know they pay homage to John Hughes a lot in the movie, but I feel like it's right up there with like the kind of movies he would make. I really do. Some kind of wonderful, those kinds of
16 Candles.
Yeah. Teen rom-coms. So we'll talk about that more coming up. But next is where I have Quiz Lady.
Okay.
I just thought it was really funny. I really liked the mother-daughter relationship. It was I just really enjoyed it. And so what do you have next?
I have A Haunting in Venice.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I really enjoyed it. Again, I was in an Agatha Christie state of mind.
Yeah.
But also I like mysteries. So I enjoyed it. I do get a little tired of the super long treatise.
Yeah.
At the end of all the exposition at the end of these films. But then again, it's you kind of need someone to explain it. You're like, oh, no. Even though it's as you said, you kind of can't believe that he knows everything that's going on behind closed doors. But still, I still enjoy it. I thought it was stylish, and I had fun.
Yeah. Well, my number 10, this is where I actually have the creator. When I was coming out of this, I was super excited. It is beautiful. And I really did enjoy the love story element of it, that it was about this love story between this man and this android. And, but I guess in the end, these other ones ahead of it, just were like slightly more memorable than it, but I really did enjoy it. And it's such a beautiful movie, beautiful looking movie. I definitely would watch it again. It's hard for me to get on board with sci-fi sometimes. So the fact I enjoyed it as much as I did, I think says something.
Yeah.
So that's where I have it.
Yeah. Excellent. So see, for me, I had Chain Can Dunk at 11 and then Carl's Date at 10.
Oh, Carl's Date. Yeah. Okay, good. So my number 9 is where I have The Naughty Nine.
Okay.
So fun. Great.
Fun.
Yeah.
Super
I'll
fun.
probably watch. And then what do you have next?
At 9, I have Flaming Hot.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then, at this point, there's only a couple that we haven't talked about. Number 8 is where I have World's Best. I just loved this father-son dynamic. And I don't know, I really enjoyed it. It was very sweet.
Yeah, this is where we're going to be doing like the polar opposites. This is where I have the Marvels. And again, I kind of can't believe the Marvels made my top 10 because I rank these by how I rated the movies, But Marvels had nothing but flaws, but I had fun. It just was for me. It was just a fun ride.
Yeah. My number 7 is where I have The Little Mermaid. I was expecting.
I have it at 6.
I thought this was going to be terrible. I really did, and a lot of the things that I thought would be terrible were terrible. I think it looked not great. A lot of the movie, I didn't love this new interpretation of Ursula. King Triton, I didn't love. A lot of the stuff that I was expecting to not love, I didn't love. But I loved her. I thought she was great. I thought her singing was amazing. And I thought that he was awesome. Eric was so good. I thought they had incredible chemistry. If I was Disney, I would have sold this movie on the fact that it's basically a rom-com. I think that was by far the strength of the movie, was their connection, and that they both were collectors, that they both were dreamers, that they both, and I liked his song. I just loved him. I'd never seen that actor before. He was great. And so I couldn't believe that I saw it 3 times.
Oh, go Rachel.
I kept going with people. And so, yeah, I mean, flaws and all, I really did. I mean, scuttlebutt and all, I did enjoy it.
I'm glad you enjoyed it, and I'm glad it wasn't just just dreadful.
Yeah,
I have it
was
at number
dreading
6.
it. Yeah,
Uh,
I was dreading it.
Ditto.
Yeah.
But I'm with you. I loved Prince Eric's new song. I just think Rob Marshall
Underrated.
knows how
He's
to-
underappreciated.
he knows
I
how to
loved Mary
direct a
Poppins
musical.
Returns.
Yes,
I loved I mean, I really enjoyed The Little Mermaid.
I love Chicago. I mean,
Yeah.
I think his
Mhm.
Chicago is brilliant.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
anyway,
I will never doubt again. I will never doubt Rob Marshall.
He knows. Well, I think for me, particularly for musicals, I think he really knows how to direct a musical.
I think even Into the Woods, he did what he could.
Yeah,
I just don't love Into the Woods, but he did what he could
right.
with it.
Exactly. So,
But
I was
what did
happy
you
that-
have at 7?
so at 7, I have Theater Camp,
Oh, okay. Yeah.
which I just thought was a kick.
So fun.
That's what I saw at Sundance.
Oh,
I only saw like 2 or 3 films. And
yeah,
that
I
was
saw it
one
at
of them.
Sundance as well.
And so much fun. It's
Mhm.
just hilarious.
Yeah.
Just silly but really fun.
Yeah. And did you know that the director of Theater Camp is Mary Lou Henner's son? Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah. Isn't that random?
That is so cool.
Yeah. I loved it too.
Is he as smart as his mom?
Yeah. I don't think he has the memory, but
Okay.
but yeah. 6 is where I have Rye Lane. I really liked these 2. I thought they were really sweet, and some of the humor didn't quite land for me. But overall, I really liked the romance and the story, and I loved the whole you're a good person if you wave at boats, and just little moments in the script like that. And
Yeah.
so yeah, I have it at 6.
Well, you're such a pro with these rom-coms too, so I'm glad to know that
yeah.
that you liked it and that it made
Yeah.
because it's not always my thing, or I don't necessarily know how to recognize it unless it like hits me over the head.
Sure. So what do you have at 5?
At 5, I have The Creator.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was good.
I thought The Creator was cool.
Yeah, it was.
It was. Yeah, it was. I didn't know what to expect, frankly, and it wasn't the love story at the core of it. I think that's just why I was so surprised by that.
Yeah,
I just thought it was really well made, and everything I had read is saying that they were able to really make this for a low budget. I mean, not saying that it's a low budget film, but they just didn't have a lot of money.
85 million, I think, is what I remember, something like that for this level of film. Is just pretty amazing.
It was pretty amazing,
Yeah.
and I was just happy that it was good. I thought it was good, and I feel like a lot of people missed out.
Yeah.
I didn't do very well in the box office, and I don't know if it's just the time of year or the marketing or whatever. But anyway,
sci-fi fans are really, really, really tough. They are very tough to please. Very, very tough. My number 5 I is Once Upon a Studio. Cute, enjoyed it. It was very nostalgic. Loved seeing all the characters from shorts, and I mean, it's just basically like a little promotional reel for the studio, but that's all it needed to be. It was very fun. I enjoyed it. It was great, that scene with Mickey and Walt. That was I don't know how that doesn't make you well up a little bit if you're a fan. It was kind of a hard one to know where to rank because it's just so different than anything else, but that's where I ended up, was at 5. But I really enjoyed it.
have a little higher. We'll talk. Yeah.
So what do you have at 4?
I have Elemental at 4.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Again, I don't. I appreciate everything that you say about it, but I just was really smitten with it. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. my number 4 is Where I Have a Small Light.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
Yeah, beautiful
Yeah.
story.
Really great.
Wonderful acting.
Yeah.
Very well
I'm
done.
excited. I'm really excited to finish it.
Mhm. Yeah. So what do you have at let's see, what do you have at 3?
I actually have Guardians of the Galaxy
Same.
Volume 3. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, good. I feel, I really enjoyed it. I don't know why. I mean, sure, they brought Gamora back, even though like how or why, but
Well, it was a variant.
yeah,
Gamora variant.
right. But it's I don't know, I enjoyed it.
Mhm.
You know?
Yeah. I mean, it has everything that the Marvels wasn't. I mean, it had a singular vision. It had never changed from what James Gunn wanted to do.
Yeah,
And
it's really
I mean, you
clear.
could just feel the difference between
Really
what's
clear.
happening now versus what was happening when this was supposed to be made in like 2019.
Yeah.
And so it was very telling, but seeing Rocket's story and how moving it was. The villain was a little over the top. He was a little shouty for my personal taste.
Sure.
But it was really moving. It was really well done. It was funny. It just had it all. It was great.
Yeah.
So yeah, I have it a 3 as well. Number 2, and I didn't like Volume 2, so that was I was nervous about it. But number 2 is Where I Have Theater Camp. I mean, come on, I'm like a theater person. Like,
I know, right?
Of course. All the jokes. I mean, it was so funny, and I want to watch this musical one of these days.
Yeah.
I mean, I love Ben Platt so much, and like jokes like that. If a straight play, what's a queer play? Like just funny jokes, and so that's where I have 2.
Yeah, it's terrific. It's Theater Camp was really, really fun.
Mhm.
I had 2. I have Indiana Jones and the
Mhm.
Dial of Destiny.
Yeah.
There's nothing quite as satisfying for me as Indiana Jones punching out Nazis, and I just loved everything about this movie. And again, I know I'm the only person in America, or I guess there's 3 of us.
Yeah.
My nephew and his son liked it too, but otherwise,
Yeah.
itself. Anyway, it really
I'm
worked for
glad.
me, and
I'm glad.
and go figure, because it didn't work for anybody else.
Sometimes that happens. Well, my number 1, it's the one that I've been talking about all year on my social media and everywhere else, is Prom Pact. I just loved this little teen rom-com. I thought it was so good. I loved all of the relationships. I loved Milo Manheim and his little nerdy relationship with the prom queen. I loved the kind of enemies to lovers story with the jock and the nerdy girl who wants to get into Harvard. His dad is president of whatever, is on the board of whatever, and so she's all judgy at him at first, but then they of course start to the banter back and forth between them. I thought that all of that worked for me. I loved the use of music, and the banter I thought was really strong. I just loved it. I thought it was really good. And one of the best. I mean, I love the To All the Boys I've Loved Before movies. I don't know if you ever saw those. Those were really
Those were on Netflix, right?
On Netflix, yeah, they were real strong, especially the first and the third one. And most of the other teen rom-coms on Netflix have been terrible. But this one is, I think, right up there with those, and very, very strong. I just really, really, really enjoyed it. And I've been saying to everybody on Hallmark's podcast that Hallmark should be looking at all of these actors, because they need young talent at Hallmark. Most of their actresses and actors are in their, getting their 40s, late 30s. And it's harder to pull off some of these rom-com stories,
Yeah.
So they should be looking at this cast, because I thought they were all good. And I just really enjoyed it. So, yeah. And
I'm so glad that you found this film.
Yeah,
that it was something that really worked for you. That's really, really great.
Yeah, I've seen it, but I just kept watching it over and over again because I really loved it.
I'm so glad.
I mean, it made my favorite just movies period list of the year. Like, not even
Nice.
just Disney. So there you go.
Outstanding.
So that is the ranking.
Can I give you my number one?
Oh my gosh, I'm sorry. Yes.
You're fine.
Yes.
My number one is Once Upon a Studio.
Yeah.
This Disney 100 celebration
It was lovely.
has been mixed just because Disney's had such a crappy year.
Yeah.
But a lot of it for me was fun. I did my own little 100. I picked 100 Disney movies that I've watched over the year and really had a lot of fun with this. And I just thought this short was the perfect way to honor the 100th anniversary of the studio. I just loved every frame of it.
It really delivered. It really did.
Yeah, I just absolutely it just was perfect for me. So I'm so glad that which sucked, but this didn't. And I was really happy that something good came out of Disney animation this year.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I didn't know where to put it, but I really enjoyed it. So I can see why you have it at number one.
Yeah, my favorite.
So there we go. We did it.
Wow.
And let's hope 2024 is needs to better things.
and it'll be interesting to see what happens. I think we'll have fewer films. We'll see.
Yeah, a lot.
We'll see what they throw out on Hulu and stuff.
Right.
but yeah, I think we're gonna have a lot fewer films and really hoping for a return to quality at Disney.
Yeah, it's going to be a rebuilding year, but they always go through this about every 10 years.
Yeah, it's a cycle.
Then there's a renaissance,
it's
and then
cyclical thing. Yeah.
So
let's hope. Let's hope.
Well, thanks so much for doing this. This was always a lot of fun.
Thank you, Rachel. You're so nice to include me. Thank you.
To it. And where can people follow you? Your social media and all that stuff?
So I have a movie podcast and website that's at moviespastandpresent.com. And you can find me on Instagram. I'm at movies PAP as in past and present.
Do you know what your project's going to be for 2024?
No, I'm still formulating it. I gotta get crack-a-lack, and I've got 3 or 4 really strong candidates that I just have got to commit and plan.
Cool.
Yeah,
that'll be good. Well, you can find me at Rachel's Reviews, all over social media. You can find me at Rachel's Reviews, all over social media, iTunes, YouTube, and on Rotten Tomatoes. So check that out. Also check out the Hallmarkies podcast. Got lots of fun stuff over there. And I have reviews for a lot of the stuff we talked about, including, like I said, the red carpet coverage of A Small Light. So check that out. And check out the Patreon. If you're listening on iTunes, please leave your ratings and reviews. If you are listening on YouTube, please give the video a thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel. Appreciate that so much. And thanks again. And Merry Christmas, everybody. We'll talk to y'all later.
Merry Christmas.